Legends, what's going on? Anna requested this and it didn't get a whole lot of votes, but it's kind of a Zelda channel. I like branching out. Final Fantasy VI probably has amazing music. I listened to a little bit of it and I really wanted to break it down. So this is just an extra video for only you guys. It's not going on YouTube. Enjoy. I'm not going to edit a whole lot. It's kind of like a live stream, a little bit of a chill. Grab a cup of coffee, put it on in the background. Hopefully you still enjoy. Okay, it's Final Fantasy VI, Awakening. Ooh. Ooh. Okay. So we're in E minor or E Dorian, right? So we get kind of this sound, which Zelda fans will recognize as... Right, so it's a minor 9 chord. So here's the lowdown on chords, right? A chord is basically 1, 3, 5 in a scale. So you pick E minor or E Dorian, for example, and you just go 1. And then if you know the notes of the scale, which you can look up or learn somehow, 1, you skip 2, 3, skip 4, 5, and then if you keep going, you get a 7 chord and even a 9 chord. It's a really simplified version of it, but that's all it is. Super beautiful. After that, then they go to the flat 2 instead of that note, which actually belongs. So here, and then, but it sounds like they do this. And then back to, wow. Let's run it back. Okay, hold on. C sharp? Yeah, so I'm hearing that. Right. So, ooh, beautiful chord. It just adds a 6 on top, right? So sometimes they'll, you'll add 7 and you'll call it a 13 chord, because technically if you were to play this all the way out, it would go, right? So 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13. So since it doesn't belong in the normal progression, it's technically a 13, but you can just call it whatever you want, right? It's a, so that's 9, 13, or 6, 9 chord would also work. Da-dum. So yeah. That is a tritone substitution. Because these two notes lead really nicely back into here, and they actually are intended, if we're in the key of E, that would be the 5 chord, B dominant 7. And that's the tritone that leads us back into here. So a tritone substitution is where you take that same tritone, but you substitute the other notes and make it a different chord. So technically there are 2 different dominant 7 chords that could be played here. The other one would be, right? So that one, yeah. Or that one, back to, wow. Beautiful. You know, one of the reasons it's so effective, minor 9 chords are already beautiful. Major 7 chords are obviously beautiful too. But that note's like in the melody. And then so it's really nice because you don't expect that note to come, especially after they just played this note. So it's like it doesn't exist, right? I love that effect. I've got a whole video planned on how Dorian mode plays that. And that note doesn't exist if you're in Dorian mode. For example, Breath of the Wild, when it goes... Let's see, it goes... Right? Right? They do the same thing. So I'm a big fan of this. I'll try to keep it moving a little bit more. Okay. Kind of same thing going on. Wow, and it ends in minor. And then back. I love that part. Clearly that's the most beautiful, I think. Feels like that's home. Oh, that's a Final Fantasy thing. So they're doing a really good job of jumping back and forth between like relative major and relative minor, or even the flat 6 chord. So like this sounds like it actually should be the home. But then they'll go, right? And you're like, well, how are we not in C major? Right? Because it's okay, so it's similar. It's not quite the relative major or minor. There's a little bit of accidentals, but I guess for E, let me think. Well, not even then, if it's E Dorian. No, there's still accidental. So it is a key change, but it somehow lands where it sounds like it's home. And doesn't even end on E. Beautiful. Celeste's theme, I hope I'm not mispronouncing it. Another minor 9. Okay, so it's got the Great Fairy thing going on, right? Oh. I also, let's see. Right, so you get some of the that's a minor major 7. So we get a minor triad with a major 7. You almost never get that. Either you get like a major triad with a minor 7, or you get minor with minor, major with major, which is called a major 7, but minor with major 7 is like the James Bond chord, right? Or like Austin Powers, right? Very interesting. Okay. So going up a minor third like that is a very effective way to make it sound really dark and depressing. And the reason is, normally, B minor has an F sharp. That sound is really dissonant. It's a tritone. So if we end up playing that next, we still kind of hear this. So it really like messes with our ear a little bit, but then it's also a different minor triad. So we hear minor, but we also kind of hear tritone, right? And then we do it again. We take this and we lower that, right? And then I'm sure they do it again. Oh, I guess they don't. Didn't expect that. Heading back to E flat major. Okay, so I'm going to say something unpopular here. Really unpopular. I've liked almost all of the music here. I actually don't like this chord progression. And the reason is I grew up learning music by hearing themes in movies and video games and then trying to build connections and go, this sounds like this. And what is this called? Oh, a major 7 chord. I've heard that before, right? Oh, a 2-5-1. I've heard that before. And this chord progression is, in my opinion, overused by James Horner. James Horner is a phenomenal composer, composed The Land Before Time, Braveheart, A Beautiful Mind, Legends of the Fall with Brad Pitt and Anthony Hopkins. And I think in all 4 of those, he uses this chord progression. Oh, Searching for Bobby Fischer. So it's basically 1, but then it's 3, and then 4. And then usually it's back down to 1 or something, right? For example, in Searching for Bobby Fischer, I'm a big chess fan, by the way. It goes... something like that. But it's just... Oh, and then it goes... which is just very, very typical. A lot of... the 3 minor chord almost always leads into the 4 chord. And so if you go 1, 3, it's super predictable that it's going back to 4, and then guess what? Back to 1. So I heard it once and was like, wow, that's nice. And then I heard it again and I was like, that's funny. It sounds a little bit like James Horner. And it was. And then I heard it again and again. So now I kind of hate it only because in my experience, I learned it because I think he's overused it in some big major motion productions. So nothing against Final Fantasy at all. It was probably a Japanese composer that you guys know more about than I do. But when I hear that theme, part of me is like, oh, and that's why I can't be a composer. I'm more of, I'm like that chef that's like, I don't want to create anything new. I just want to go around and eat other chefs' food and kind of dissect it and break it down and talk about why it's good and things like that. Right? I'd rather explain it to people and appreciate it than create it myself. It wouldn't feel authentic if I created it. Let's keep moving. Get off my soapbox. But this is cool. You guys get to know me a little bit, right? This is that was my musical background, just listening and learning things. Repeats. We'll skip to the next one. Okay, next up. Oh, nice. That's a very Koji Kondo thing to do. Check it out. Nice. So the flat 3 chord, flat 3 because normally that would be the 3rd. So the flat 3, that normally would only exist in a minor key, but we're evidently in a major key here, right? Then the flat 2, same thing, that normally doesn't exist in major or minor. That would come from like a Phrygian or something, Phrygian dominant, I guess. And then, so very cool. Yeah, more to say on that, but I'll skip it. Let's go. You guys know what they just did. Then they went... minor, right? So it used to be major. They actually ended minor. Fascinating. It's like a reverse Picardy third. Normally they end on major after it's been minor. They did the opposite here. But they did the flat 6, flat 7, 1 Zelda Mario progression, right? I like it. I like mode mixture. What's next? From that day on. Ooh. Oh. Let's go. Okay. Cool. Okay, so we get 1 minor. And then we get 2 dominant 7 chord. And then we get tritone substitution. Or maybe it doesn't have the 7, but it's close enough. And then major. And they pull out the Final Fantasy. Right? How cool is that? We actually just heard something really similar in the breakdown that I filmed tonight. Road to Rito 2, if you guys watch it. Attacking Vomado has a part that's almost exactly like this. And it's in the same key. Let's go! Yeah, it goes... And then it goes... And then it ends up going... How funny is that? So it's actually pretty common that we find that's Hyrule Castle theme from Wind Waker. Let's see. I had a whole video on that. If you've watched one of my videos recently, mentioned it. This was going to be my first video on Ukrainian Dorian. Let me try that again. Minor third, sharp 4, raised 6 like Dorian mode, flat 7. I don't have the fingering down, so it's messing me up a little bit. It's used in Sherlock all over the place by Hans Zimmer. Those 2 chords are used everywhere by Koji Kondo for Mario castles. It's used in like 4 or 5 of them. Yoshi's Island plays it. Mario 64, ba-da-da-dum, when Bowser first steps out, plays it. Wii U, Super Mario Bros. For Wii U plays it. And there's one other time in Koopa's Castle or something like that. There's a bunch of them. I have them all written down. Gaston from Beauty and the Beast is, gosh, it's disturbing to see you, Gaston, feeling so down in the dumps. Arabian Nights starts off, and I come, da-da-dum, da-dum. And then it goes. So Arabian Nights plays that exact same chord progression.
Oh, I come from a land, from a faraway place where the caravan camels roam.
And then Hades' theme from Hercules does the same thing. See, it's fourths. Oh gosh. Very cool. Those are, I think, all three by Alan Menken. Huge fan of his, by the way. Disney music from like the classic Renaissance era. Amazing. Let's keep moving. So that's why I hear it and I'm like, yes. Flat 2 chord. Da 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 da. So it's definitely not Dorian. Right. Relative major. Okay, now suddenly sounds happy. Yeah, Lydian. Okay, jumps to the 5 chord. By the way, Champion's Ballad from Breath of the Wild does that same thing, where it ends up here. Oh, let's see. Let's see. Oh! So the Champion's Ballad. Check it out. 1, 3, 4, 1. That James Horner thing I was talking about. Champion's Ballad does it, right? Da 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 dum. Da 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 dum. Da 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 dum bum. And then it goes da 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 dum dum bum. Right? So there you go, the James Horner progression. You've just heard another example in Zelda, and then you hear what they just did, that flat 3, 4, 5, and then looping back to 1. You guys see why I can't compose. Every time I come up with something, I'm like, yeah, but that's from this or that or whatever. I can combine them, I can make my own cool whatever, but that's not really what I'm passionate about. I'm more passionate about drawing attention to it and explaining what's going on. I think it's really interesting to understand it. This is beautiful. Let's see if it does anything else. Now it repeats. Okay, we'll go to the next one. Cyan's theme, C-Y-A-N. Dorian mode, love it. Another minor 9 chord. Right, Phi's theme. Right, or Serenade of Water. Right. And Pigurdy third. Dorian mode is my favorite mode by far. Lydian's probably second. Okay, nice. Oh yeah, emphasizing that. Nice. Sounds like the Tomb Raider theme, also in Dorian mode. The flat 6 chord, let's go! I was just talking about that earlier this video. Check it out. So we get... And then we get... This note doesn't exist. Right? So it comes out of nowhere, and it's super beautiful. This is the Zelda chord, right? The flat 6 major 7 chord. Let's see what it plays. Favorite theme so far from this whole group of themes. Okay, so it's not a major 7 chord, but it is the flat 6. Again, ending up on the relative major. Right, this would be home, but right now we're here, and it kind of feels like the major version of home. There's a lot in Final Fantasy. I've noticed listening to this whole thing, a lot of times they'll park on the relative major or relative minor. They dance between the two a lot. Oof. Da, da, dum. Wow. And then this is home. Wow. Wow. Beautiful. Oh, yeah. Emphasizing the 9 a little bit. Beautiful. Gorgeous. Beautiful. Very sad. Wow. Coin of Fate. We probably got time for one more quick one. If anybody watched my every Zelda music reference in the Tears of the King trailer, my first big video, 5th video ever that popped off, it's at like 130,000 views. Very beginning starts off with da 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 dum, and it's what I think is a reference to Spirit Tracks in the same key. Now listen to the other one. This kind of just did that. It's almost like a meme at this point. Nice harmonization, by the way. Ooh! Wow. You guys remember what that is? The flat 6 major 7 chord, the Zelda chord, the one that I love. A tritone substitution, flat 2 dominant 7 chord, back to 1. 2 of my favorite chords ever. Awesome. Love the instrumentation. Da 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 dum. Little Final Fantasy. Perfect. 10 out of 10. Now, when you go now, it's a Neapolitan chord. So anytime you use this to that, back up. I threw in a couple Neapolitan references in my Hogwarts Legacy video, my second video ever. I used to get more into theory. I kind of abandoned it because I'm doing more Zelda reference stuff, and it's blowing up, and I'm enjoying it. But I really do like digging into some of this theory stuff. Wow. What's cool about those is, so it's the same tritone. That's what a tritone substitution is. It takes it from this chord and plays this chord instead. Right? Super cool. I've never really put that together, that Neapolitan chords use the same tritone as the 5 chord. And yeah, that's how they work. Really, really cool. Into the relative major, but it doesn't stay there long. Flat 2, 5, which are a tritone away, by the way. Little suspension, Picardy 3rd. It's gonna go up a 4th. It did. So I wondered if they were going to go and then back to, and then loop right back to, and that was going to be their path home. They didn't. Kind of in limbo. They can go anywhere. They'll probably go up a 4th from here. They didn't. Beautiful though. It works. Love that. That's my second favorite part so far. Super exotic sounds, right? Really cool stuff. This is really advanced, by the way. Okay. So we got through, what, 5 songs? So thank you, Anna, for being a patron. Thank you for suggesting something that was outside of the norm, even though we all probably knew that everyone was going to vote Zelda anyway. Patrons will have more voting rights in the future. I did start a new tier where $10 patrons can make direct requests, and I'm going to do those a lot more frequently. But I'm still kind of figuring it out. I may have you guys vote on their requests. I may have you guys put some requests together and have them vote. I may just pick a couple of theirs and then periodically have sort of a drawing like I did last time. But just know that I appreciate every single one of you, if you watched it this far especially. And I'm always looking for ways to give back. This is my dream, right? I'm sitting in my garage right now playing piano and just talking to people on the other side of the world in a lot of cases. So super cool. I have a couple of jobs and a family, and I do this for fun because I've listened to Zelda music my whole life and happen to have a degree in music, happen to be able to nerd out on it and share it with you guys. So I'm just glad somebody's watching it. Let me know what you want to see. If you watch this video, especially if you watch all the way through, leave a comment here on Patreon and just let me know, hey, this is something I'd love to see you cover in the future. And I will try to hold more drawings, so I really enjoy it. Although a lot of you guys are giving me the feedback, hey, just keep doing what you're doing. Like I would love to see Colgera, for example, right? We're headed there, right? Anyway, thank you for being a patron. Thank you, Anna. Hope you enjoyed it. And Zelda Music Theory out.